All right, people, what is going on? This is episode 300 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and this is episode, like I said, episode 300. Finally made it to 300 episodes. It's crazy. When I first started this, I didn't think I was going to get this far. To be honest with you, this was truly like a hobby podcast. Not much really was going to go into it because basically me and two other guys, Bills and DJ, we was basically talking about sports gaming, and that's where the frame rates title of the show comes from, because first, as far as first down and frame rates was like talking about gaming, but most of the gaming stuff is going to my other channel, and I turned this podcast into podcast where we talk about Atlanta Falcons and Georgia Southern football, and it's taken off. It's done pretty good, and I want to thank you guys for continuous support. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. And I don't know where I would be without the support, because you guys keep me going. You guys really do. Nevertheless, we're going to get into the topic today. We're going to talk about some running backs that the Atlanta Falcons should select. We don't talk about too much of the running backs. We basically talk about what's going on with Matt Ryan or Calvin Ridley or, the offensive line or whatever, but not much of running backs. We do need a running back. I feel at this point we need a running back. I mean, Cordell Patterson can't do it all, and Mike Davis was somewhat disappointing, and he's on the last year of his contract, so I don't expect him to do too much outside of long term. So we need to look into a running back. So we want to talk about that, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions on the four that I have on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, you could really see what I'm talking about here. So we're gonna let me fix it. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna get into the intro of this podcast, and we're going to talk about those running backs. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. You can find me on YouTube, Rumble, if you want to watch the podcast. If you want to listen to the podcast, I'm on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So you can check it out on all those platforms. And I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been, giving. Viewership and listenership once again is up. Subscribers are moving up on all platforms. Thank you guys. And if you choose to subscribe to any of the podcast avenues, I think they have not only just an auto download, it gives you a notification as well. So you will be able to auto download and, listen to the podcast as soon as I upload the podcast. So also, if you want to donate, all the links are down in the description. I appreciate all the support, no matter how small or big, even if it's just you watching or you decide to donate. Let's go ahead and get into this. Four running backs. I'm going to start with the first one that I think that, I'll say this. All four of these running backs, I think the Falcons should pick up. I mean, not all of them on the draft, but, like all four running backs during the draft, but one of these four, I think they will fit the Falcons very well. So if any of these four are available at a specific time, I think that the Falcons should jump on one of these four guys. I mean, that'd be crazy to pick all four, right? But nevertheless, we're going to get into each one, starting with the one if you're watching on the screen, the top left, which is Kenneth Walker. None of them not in a particular rank that I have, but I like these four guys. Kenneth Walker, definitely, I think he should be one of the guys that, if available, and is at the right time of the draft, they should pick him up. One thing about Kenneth Walker, he is very fast for his size, 5'10", 210. He runs a 4.38. He can run the ball very well. He breaks tackles very well. Decent receiver. The only knock on him, and for the Falcons, this got to be a really big deal because of our issue with the line. He's not the best pass blocker. Not too much, not that should be a big knock, because I think the Falcons do fairly well at run blocking. I think they do better in pass blocking. So running the ball is fine, but pass blocking is going to be some of a liability. I feel that we need to get a running back that can pass block, and Kenneth Walker is not that guy. But I will say, as a running back, long term, if you get some guys that can actually block, I think Kenneth Walker would be an excellent choice for the Falcons. So this right here will be a really good pickup for him. I mean, they got him drafted. I mean, his grade around like mid second, late second round. That kind of falls into line where the Falcons will be in the second round or whatever the case may be. So if nobody touches him, he may be one of those guys that the Falcons should pick up. I ain't gonna say maybe he may be available, but it's one of the guys that the Falcons definitely should pick up. I like what he's able to do. He's ran the ball very well for Michigan State. At one point, he was a Heisman contender at one point, and he played pretty well for Michigan State. Had a pretty good game against Michigan. He had a pretty good game against a few teams. So I'm here to say that definitely he should be able to be one of the guys that the Falcons should draft. He had 616. Oh, I'm sorry, 616. He had 1636 yards, 1,636 yards, and he had 18 touchdowns. He put up pretty good numbers in college. So running over 1,600 yards in college, pretty good. And he did win the Walker Camp of the Year at the Doak. Walter. Hold on, this is all over the place. I'm trying to read this. He won the Walter Camp Player of the Year and the Doak Walker Award. So I didn't know he won the Doak Walker. That's kind of weird. I didn't know that. I should have known that, but I didn't. He won. He was sixth in the Heisman voting. So like I said, he was one of the guys that actually was in the running for the Heisman at one point. So I really think that he's one of those people that we should look into. I'm going to go into the next person, which I've seen a couple other people that does Atlanta Falcon content talk about this guy. Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. Run a 4.4, 6'1", 215, Texas A&M running back. He ran in 2021. He ran for 1,011 yards, 5.6 yards a carry. He was one of the 16 finalists for the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award. So one thing about him that I noticed that that's pretty big on Isaiah Spiller that will help Matt Ryan a lot is the fact that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And this is one thing that I like about Isaiah Spiller. He can run the ball pretty well too, and he can catch. So he has a pretty good balance out of out of most running backs, because you want a running back, especially in the NFL nowadays, who can catch out the backfield. So he was able to do pretty well on the field. So that is a big asset for the Falcons, because they're going to be trying to pass the ball a little bit more than running, I would think, with the offensive line that we have now, unless they're going to be somewhat of a change. Now, that does not take anything away from Isaiah Spiller. He can run the ball. I've seen him run the ball. He done pretty good against Alabama when they beat Alabama last season. So he can do a little bit of everything. Probably the most balanced running back as far as catching and running in this draft, and he will be a major asset for the Falcons. I mean, it's just really well rounded running back. So that's pretty cool. So I don't have much else to say about Isaiah Spiller. I mean, what else needs to be said? He's one of the top runners and the top receivers out of running backs in the draft. So this is something that they may want to look into. Last but not least, he is projected to go in the mid-second round. Once again, that's right around where the Falcons will be looking. I would think that they'll be looking for a running back around that time, where you can see where after you do what you need to do for your first two picks, as far as the number 8 pick and second round pick, then you would know exactly what type of running back that you would want. Because I think after you get your first 2 picks out the way, I think that second pick in the second round for the Falcons is a perfect time to look into a running back. And as of right now, we talked about Kenneth Walker and Isaiah Spiller, where they basically have graded right at the same time where the Falcons will be at for that pick that they have, that second pick in the second round. So that'd be a really, really good look for them. And you get pretty good value, in my opinion. Now, this is all if nobody trades or anything, or whatever the case may be. The third player that I would think that they should pick up. I mean, this guy needs no introduction. If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, 9 times out of 10, you know who this running back is. Did very well for himself throughout the season and had a pretty good run against Alabama in the national championship game. We're talking about James Cook, running back out of Georgia, 5'11", 190, ran a 4.42. One thing about this kid right here, he's probably the most balanced out of all of these running backs. Out of all the running backs, like I said, I'm not talking about, like I just talked about Isaiah Spiller. He's probably the most balanced offensively. James Cook is the most balanced out of all these 4 that I'm talking about total. He can run the ball pretty well. He has really good hands, and he can pass block. He can pass block pretty well. So, and he's pretty good at run blocking, which I don't know why, they'll have him pretty good at run blocking. But I think out of all of these guys, even when I finished talking about Isaiah Spiller is not that high on pass blocking as James Cook is. Now, this is a really good asset for the Atlanta Falcons if they want to pick this guy up. He's a fan favorite because the Falcons, most of those guys are already they're already Georgia Bulldogs fans, so that will work for them very well. For the fans or whatever, but for the Falcons, I think he's probably like the best fit overall because he can do the same things that Spiller does, but he's a better pass blocker, and that goes well, and I think he's a better receiver as well. So with this type of offense that we're running, that that you want to run the ball. Arthur Smith wants to run the ball heavily, like what he did with Derrick Henry, but we've seen what he can do throughout the season when he has to pass the ball. Arthur Smith does have different plays where other players can get involved, and it doesn't necessarily evolve around just running the ball all the time. So if you can get a receiver out the backfield that can catch the ball like a James Cook is actually a huge asset. Now, they got him also moving in, possibly getting picked up in the 3rd round. Now, I don't see this personally. A running back with these type of skills, I can see somebody coming up to grab him earlier. I don't really look at the projections of a round anyway. For the most part, it makes sense. But when you have players like this, I don't see where they will. This is one of the reasons why I don't like to look into like projections, like, oh, this person's gonna go first, second, third, fourth, because you can see and you've seen with the eye test what this kid can do. But maybe I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're looking into this based on other teams' needs, but I would not be surprised if James Cook could be taken earlier than the 3rd round. I mean, easily. I mean, he do what he does as far as and how versatile he is really amazing. Why not too many people looking at him. Also, with other running backs like Samir White, that's been carrying the load for Georgia as well. He doesn't have that many touches, so is a lot of tread on his tires. So he's not going to be one of these guys that have been bogged down by college, which, I mean, doesn't really matter. I don't think it does, but you can look into things like that. In 2021, he was the 2nd leader rusher with 651 yards, only had 107 carries. So that's what I'm saying. He didn't have that many touches. He only started 3 games. He also had 25 catches for 269 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, like I said, he can catch. He can catch the ball out the backfield. So this is a really good pickup for anybody who wants to get this running back. But I think he's going to be the guy that will benefit the Falcons the most because he can catch out the backfield and he can run the ball very well, just like a running back. Fun fact, I didn't know this. He is the younger brother of Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. I didn't know that. Interesting. Now, the last running back I want to talk about is a running back nobody really talked about. And I know if you're watching this on the podcast, or not on the podcast, but you're looking at this on the YouTube or Rumble Avenue, if you're watching, you see the Michigan running back that I have right there. This guy's name is Hassan Haskins. I mean, he really don't need no introduction, but he plays ball. I mean, he played very well in the Big Ten. He's a lot like Dalvin Cook, but he's bigger and he runs about the same speed as Dalvin Cook. I think he's a little bit slower, and it runs at a 4.5, 6'1", 220. This is the sleeper pick that I think that the Falcons could get really high value out of. Like I said, 6'1", 220. He's a very good running back. I mean, he runs the ball very well. He can catch and pass block, and he's bigger than James Cook. Did I say Dalvin earlier? I can't remember. He's bigger than James Cook. So this kid here, nobody's talking about him, and he can be easily a sleeper pick for any team. And I feel that the Falcons could use him. He nearly has the size of Derrick Henry at 6'1", 220. I think Derrick Henry is 6'2", 240, probably like 20 pounds lighter. But he has the build like that. 6'1", 220 is still not a small person running the ball, but he can catch out the backfield. A guy this big that can catch out the backfield is dangerous. And like I said, this is what Atlanta needs. They need somebody who can catch out the backfield as well, because of the fact that the offensive line is not as good. Now, if they make some changes, then we're talking about a different story. But they have him drafted. The draft grade is 5th. Probably he's going to be around the 5th round, 4th round. I find this criminal. I don't see where this kid to get anywhere outside of the 3rd round. I'll be highly surprised if he gets out of the 3rd round. I'll be kind of surprised if he gets out of the 2nd round, honestly. This right here is just ridiculous. Senior year, he ran for 1327, 4.9 yards a carry, 20 touchdowns. He had 18 receptions for 131. But that offense, I don't think that his offense that what's his name, Jim Harbaugh really runs, really caters to a quarterback to throw to the running back. But they say he has really good hands, so that I think that will bode well. Me personally, I think that he will be a sleeper pick for anybody, and I think that the Falcons may need to look into him as well. I think that what else can you say? You're basically looking at somebody that can really take the place of Cordell Patterson. Him and Cook, actually. Him and James Cook can take the place of Cordell Patterson as far as doing so much. Well, Cordell Patterson can actually just be plugged into certain places when we want to put him there, not because we need to put him there. So this is this guy. I don't know how many people are high on him, but this is my personal pick that I think, and when it's all said and done, because I think these other 3 guys may be off the board. If not, go for the other 3. But I think the best value here will be Hassan Haskins. I think he will be excellent for the Falcons. He has the size, he has the strength, he does have the speed, and he has the hands. So he's basically what I think James Cook would be, but he's bigger. He's bigger than James Cook. I think James Cook is like 5'11", 190. So you're looking at an extra 30 pounds on a guy who can possibly do the same thing. Might be slightly slower, because I think James Cook is 4'4", and Haskins is a 4'5", 8. So now you're looking at a situation here where, do you want the speed or do you want the toughness? I don't know. Like right around nowadays in the NFL, like the speed is the thing now, right? You don't want nobody really hard to take down. I think that's one of the reasons why Derrick Henry is regarded so high, because there's like not really any other running backs that's running the ball like him, and people gravitate towards that. Well, we just need some more running backs that can do that. Don't be afraid to take punishment. Beast mode is alive and well in some cases. And I just feel that, any of these 4 running backs, I'll just say that in closing, any of these 4 running backs will be excellent for the Falcons. I really believe that. Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Spiller, James Cook, or Hassan Haskins. And you can't go wrong with any of these guys, and having all these picks in the first 3 rounds, I can't see where you not try to get one of these guys. Me personally, if I had to really, really pick and really, really choose, I would personally pick Hassan Haskins over the other 3, because there's other needs that we need that we probably going to use at number 8, number 40, and I think we got number 48 or something like that. I think we have other needs, and I do feel that James Cook or Hassan Haskins will be available at one of those spots in the 2nd round. Maybe there's a possibility that maybe Cook or Haskins will fall into the 3rd round, which I will be super surprised if one of them did. But if they do, they're all bets are off. If one of these guys are available in the 3rd round, you definitely pick them, because I think we still got the 8th pick in the 3rd round or something like that still. But if any of these guys are available in the third round, all bets are off. You pick one of these guys. Point blank. I believe Walker and Spiller be going by the third round easily. Cook and Hassan, there's a possibility that one of them may fall. And if they do, that's criminal, and the Falcons should pick them up. But I think the Falcons would be in a good position to pick them with that second pick in the second round. And also, you never know what may happen with the Calvin Ridley situation. What if he gets traded? Then we have another pick possibly in the second round, and you definitely could pick up one of these guys. You know, you may even have the luxury to pick up any of these 4 guys at that time if you have that extra pick in the second or possibly first round. So that's something to really think about as well. So all trades to the side, not really thinking about trades, just thinking about the picks that we have. Any of these 4 guys are great. I feel that Cook or Hassan Haskins, James Cook or Hassan Haskins will be the pick for the Falcons. My personal pick would be Hassan Haskins because, like I said, he can do everything that Cook can do, but he's a bigger version of Cook. Now, Cook is no slouch either. I would be happy with any one of them, but we'll see how it goes. Honestly, I'd be happy with all 4 of them, but it's just my realistic pick is going to be one of those 2. So that pretty much concludes the end of this episode 300 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and if you want to continue this conversation, give me a couple of comments in the comment section. I will respond to the most of them, as many of them as I can. Man, you know, I don't get many responses anyway, but I do respond to the ones that I see. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's VF Baller. The link is down in the description on that. And you can let me know how you feel about any of these running backs. Also, I have a Discord. You can find the Discord. The link is down in the description. You can come through. We'll invite you, and we can continue to talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. Also, if you want to, definitely, if you want to listen to any of these podcasts, YouTube, Rumble, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, or Google, give me a 5-star rating on that star chart. Also, if you want to donate, all that stuff is down in the description as well. I appreciate all the support. You guys are excellent. I really mean that. You guys are awesome. You guys continuously help this channel, all these channels and this podcast grow. And I can't thank you guys enough. All right, I will be back with episode number 301 tomorrow. And we'll continue the conversation with Atlanta Falcons or Georgia Southern football. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great Monday. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.